This is the TECNO Phantom V Fold 2, the successor to the original V Fold, and this time it's slimmer, sleeker, and packed with some solid improvements. But is it worth the slight price bump? I know you want to find out, and so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. Let's get the big one out of the way, and that's the price. At around $1,100 or 1.7 million naira, the Phantom V Fold 2 comes in significantly lower than the Galaxy Z Fold 5 or maybe the Pixel Fold. And at nearly half the price, you'd expect some serious compromises, right? Well, not exactly. TECNO has packed in a ton of features and makes this device feel like it's punching above its weight class. But the real question is, does the experience live up to the specs? Let's find out. First off, the build quality. When you first pick this thing up, the lightness immediately stands out. Compared to the predecessor, it's slimmer and lighter, which is always a good thing. The Phantom V Fold 2 comes with an IP54 rating, so it's splash and dust resistant, but please don't go dunking this in water. I mean, foldable devices are fragile enough, especially with the screen real estate you get with these devices and also the moving parts. As far as other design details, you've got a dual SIM tray, no expansion for storage though. You have a dual speaker configuration, a top and a down firing speaker, and this speaker sounds surprisingly good. Plus, there's Dolby Atmos support for that extra oomph. Alright, let's talk about the displays. Since this is a foldable device, you get two displays, a 7.85-inch internal display and a 6.42-inch cover display. Both are LTPO AMOLED displays. And that means smoother scrolling and better battery efficiency on the TECNO Phantom V Fold 2. Now the cover display peaks at 1600 nits, which is super bright even outdoors. And honestly, you could just stick to the cover display for most tasks and not feel like you're missing out on anything. Now onto the inner display, it's almost 8 inches in size with a 2K resolution. It's not as bright as the outer display, but let's be real, you're not using the inner display in direct sunlight all that often. The colors on the inner display also pop a bit more. Oh, and that's where the Phantom V Pen comes into play. It only works on the inner display, so keep that in mind. Stylus support for a foldable device isn't standard, and this is where the Phantom V Fold 2 shines. The Phantom V Pen isn't just for jotting things, it's like your personal assistant. You can solve math problems, grab text from images for quick translations, and more. And if you're a power user, you love the extra features like using this pen to take screenshots and also control the camera. But real talk here, it's not without its quirks. For instance, if you're coming from the Samsung Galaxy S Pen, you might miss some features like circle to search, although they said they'll have that in an update by October this year. Plus, writing outside the designated text areas can be frustrating with this pen. You have to manually space between words, which should totally be fixable with the software update. Also, the pen here comes with its own case, so you don't expect to magnetically attach this to the fold like some other devices. The crease, it's barely noticeable with the screen here, but here you can spot it if you're looking for it. The real win here is the hinge on the Phantom V Fold 2. Too long a name. TECNO has improved the flexibility on this device and it holds at multiple angles, perfect for things like flex mode, and it's great for watching videos too on YouTube, taking notes and just chatting. Now, is this the best hinge out there? Samsung still takes the crown there, but this one is solid, though it still snaps open just past 90 degrees. The display is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus, which means it can survive minor drops. Oh, before you ask me, I'm not doing no drop tests. Let's not get crazy here. Let's talk AI. Everyone is jumping on the AI hype train, but TECNO is actually doing something useful here. The Phantom V Fold 2 comes with Ella, which is their AI assistant, and this can summarize your web pages in real time. And that's perfect for when you're too lazy to scroll. I mean, we've all been there. Plus, your AI sketch to image feature can turn your doodles into actual digital art. And don't even get me started on the AI eraser that removes photo bombers like they were never there. It's these little touches that make the AI genuinely useful, not just buzzword fluff. Oh, and speaking of the helpful features here, quick sidebar. If you're finding this review helpful or just mildly entertaining, do me a solid and hit the subscribe button. Seriously, it's one small click for you, but it helps keep me bringing you more reviews like this one. Now, back to the video. Now let's dive deeper into the camera setup on this device. Trust me, it's worth talking about. On the back, you get three 50-megapixel cameras, a main, telephoto, and ultra-wide lens. That's a serious upgrade for a foldable device at this price point. And TECNO clearly didn't skimp on the hardware. The main cameras deliver sharp, vibrant images, and the AI scene recognition kicks in to make sure your photos are always optimized. Whether you're shooting landscapes, portraits, or even low-light scenarios, this camera system has got you covered. The telephoto lens does a good job with the zoom shots, offering a decent level of clarity when zoomed in. For a foldable device at this point, keyword this price point, it's pretty good. The ultra-wide, also at 50 megapixels, is perfect for those wide landscape shots or big group selfies. The bump from 13 megapixels to 50 megapixels compared to last year's model is noticeable, especially when you compare the level of detail. Speaking of selfies, TECNO didn't slack here either. You get two selfie cameras, both 32 megapixels, which is a huge win. One is on the cover display and the other is on the inner display. The cool thing here is that, unlike the usual foldable devices and setups, where you have to settle for a different resolution on the selfie cameras on both displays, there's no compromise with this device. For my testing, the results are very similar, and I believe that they are the same hardware for the cover screen camera and the inner screen camera. But you'll probably notice the brightness from the inner display giving you a bit of a different feel, and that's likely because the inner display would brighten the shots while taking those selfies. Now you can use the main cameras to take selfies thanks to the cover display acting as a viewfinder. That's perfect for creators or anyone who wants their selfies to look like they were taken with the flagship rear camera. This is especially handy if you're vlogging or creating social media content. By the way, if you want to see how this camera stacks up against the older V Fold, I've done a comparison video you can check out here. Now, no camera system is perfect, and this one has its quirks. Matching colors between the main and ultra-wide lenses isn't seamless. You're going to notice some inconsistencies in the color profiles, which can be a little annoying if you want a uniform look from the cameras. On the video side of things, the rear cameras support up to 4K resolution, which is great for high quality video content. However, the front-facing cameras max out at 1080p, which is a bit of a letdown. That said, if you want the best quality, just stick to the main camera, which is the main rear camera, and use the cover screen as your viewfinder for vlogging or selfies, although it can be a little awkward holding this device in that position or mode. Another downside is that when recording with the main camera here, you can't switch between lenses mid-recording, so plan your shots accordingly. The battery life here is impressive. You have a 5750 mAh battery, and this easily outlasts most foldable devices out there. And when it's time to juice up this device, you have 70-watt fast charging, which gets this device from 0 to 100 in about 55 minutes. And yes, it supports 15 watts wireless charging and even reverse wireless charging to power up those little devices like your earbuds. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the performance on this smartphone. It's being powered by the Dimensity 9000 Plus processor, which yes, is from last 2 years, but here's the thing, don't let that fool you into thinking that this device is outdated. In real world use, this chip holds its own surprisingly well. Whether you're gaming, scrolling through social media, or juggling multiple apps at the same time, the Phantom V Fold 2 feels snappy and responsive. Now, I've thrown some graphic-intensive games at this thing here, and it didn't flinch. Titles like Genshin Impact and Call of Duty Mobile and even PUBG ran smoothly with high settings. That said, after extended gaming sessions with this device, you will still notice the device getting a little bit warm, and this was also noticed last year with the Phantom V Fold. Nothing too alarming, but it's there. Considering the foldable form factor, the amount of processing power needed for this big inner screen, it's pretty standard. The 12 gigs of RAM ensures that multitasking is seamless. You can keep multiple apps open without worrying about the system slowing down, which is essential for a device like this one. On top of that, you get 512 gigabytes of internal storage, double that you'd get from the original V Fold at the base option or memory configuration for this device. And that's more than enough space for your apps, your games, photos and videos, especially with those 50 megapixel shots taking up a bit more room than usual. And here's where foldable devices like the Phantom V Fold 2 really shine: multitasking. The large inner display makes split-screen multitasking an absolute breeze. You can comfortably run up to 3 apps simultaneously, 2 side by side, and a floating window, which is also a lifesaver for productivity. Imagine having your email client, a browser, and a notes app all open at the same time. No more constant app switching. TECNO even added a taskbar that gives you the experience of a PC or a tablet-like feel, making app switching smoother and more intuitive. Now, if you're into gaming, here's a neat trick. You can start up gaming on the smaller cover display, and if you want more immersive experience, just unfold this device, and the game instantly continues on the larger inner display. It's seamless and feels like magic the first time you try it out. You should try it out. Now, when it comes to day-to-day performance, the Phantom V Fold 2 here doesn't disappoint. Apps open quickly, animations are smooth, and there's no noticeable lag even when pushing this device with multiple tasks and applications. Sure, it might not bench as high as the latest Snapdragon chips. By the way, here are the Antutu, Geekbench, and 3D Max scores for this device. But for 99% of users, this performance will be more than enough. The device is fast, reliable, and can handle just about anything you throw at it. TECNO's HiOS 14.5 based on Android 14 is full of multitasking features and customization options. But yes, there's bloatware and the occasional hiccup in performance. Hopefully those get ironed out in the future update, but my biggest concern here is the software updates timeline. We're looking at 2 years of software updates with this device, but I'm still stuck with Android 13 on the original V Fold here. I mean, that's something to keep in mind. So where does that leave us? The TECNO Phantom V Fold 2 is more than just a budget foldable device. It's a bold attempt at bringing innovation, AI-powered mobile computing to a wider audience. Sure, it's not perfect, the processor is a bit dated, and the software could use some polish. But when you consider the price, you're getting AI features that are actually useful, Stylus support, a massive quality display, solid battery life, excellent multitasking. I mean, these are reasonable features. And that means if you're looking for a foldable device or foldable experience without paying top-tier prices, this device should definitely be on your radar. It's definitely an improvement over the original V Fold here, but if you own this device and can still rock this foldable device, I'd hold my horses to save some bucks. So what do you think? Could the Phantom V Fold 2 be the foldable device that brings this form factor to the masses? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and also check out this video. YouTube thinks you'd love it. Cuidate.